people have much furniture back then?
Oh, we had furniture, yeah.
Not like what we have today, though, eh?
No,
we have quite a bit today.
No. I remember we had those old-time washstands, eh?
Right.
A pitcher in here, and the catcher was under the bed, and
The catcher. Now, how did you say that in Mischief?
my uncle used to say, pitcher is pitcher is in the washstand and the catcher is under the bed, he said. But at that time you can buy the wash bowl,
Right, and
really
all matching.
fancy.
Yeah.
And then they used to get that big water pitcher, eh? That same thing matches. And then they got the catcher too, was matching. Yeah.
It'd be real fancy.
Yeah.
Oh, my grandma
God,
had
yeah.
one. I still remember my grandma had one under the bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just because they didn't want to go to the outhouse
Had a
in the
lid
middle of
on
the
it
night.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Everybody got one like that.
I'd laugh at my friend there. They had an auction sale. They had one that was there. He had it up there. He's selling his catcher. He said, "I don't know what this really is, boys." He said, "But I'm going to sell it." He said, "And if anybody recognizes it," he says, "why don't you guys buy it?" He said, "As far as I'm concerned," and he says, "I think it's for boiling potatoes." He was a long ways from being known what it was.
Did anyone tell him?
No, nobody told him. He wasn't any wiser after he sold it. And he sold it for a potato pot. So those were the things too years ago, I remember. Like, old girls, and then they used to make sure they had their nice towel hanging on the back of the washstand there, These washstands, they used to have little things going up here like that with a crossbar on
All
them.
right.
They used to hang the towel on there, and
Things
boy,
with pockets.
Boy. Yeah, and they'd put all the nice stuff there, and they get company. Oh, God. It was that nice picture, washing that great big bowl.
The cattle, horses, a day before you see the horses playing, kicking and biting one another, they're playing one another. Mommy says, "It's going to storm. Watch the horses." The cattle start kicking up their heels, and the little calves, they're going crazy. Sure enough, a couple of days it'll be stormy and snowing. Yeah.
To watch the animals, how the animals act.
Yeah.
They do. Then they go near bluffs. If they're outside, they go and hide there. Protection.
Stand at their backs to the wind and behind a bluff.
We had we let go one team out because we couldn't keep them through the winter. They go out, feed fields and all that. In them days, there were a lot of horses loose in them days.
Just loose.
Just loose. They were all over, bunches, you see them, about 50, 60 head horses in one bunch. Then when towards spring, you have to go and get your horses, you gotta look around your whole
So they
horses.
just let them go forage?
Yeah.
They had all these stacks.
Yeah.
All these stacks, they harvest at that time with the machines, the straw stacks here and there.
Thrashing machines.
The thrashing machine, they go away there. Horses, they go and eat there. This and that. My cousin there, Louis Cardinal, he was out hunting coyotes. He went around and around chasing this coyote. He come near the stack there, there's the coyote standing, sitting on top of the stack. He said, it was getting kind of dark, I don't know. Bang, he said, down he went. I went around, said the big gray horse was laying there. He was just high enough, he was looking over the stack and he just shot him right down.
He thought it was a coyote?
Yeah.
Oh,
He said he took off. He said, I never went back near that place again. The farmer must have seen his horse dead. That would happen, I guess. But I thought maybe he was just telling a story. But I think, it could happen, just tall enough, the horse looking over the stack, his head sticking out over there. That was funny.
so you're telling me that a rougarou was a dog?
Yeah.
It's a person that
Yeah,
would change.
most-
So was it
most of
always a
them,
dog?
yes,
Was
yeah.
it always a dog, or
Yeah,
is this?
yeah, most of them were, yeah. The odd one that I heard one time, this guy, he turned into an animal, like a deer, or But 90% of them that, the one, like back home there, right, they were all, it was dog.
Any
Yeah.
special kind of dog?
No,
Yeah,
it's always just a great big black dog, eh?
Yeah,
You always
yeah,
talk
I'll
about
say
George.
black
Yeah.
dog.
Big black dog?
Yeah, yeah, the dog will be big, like my uncle Rahul, I was talking about, and Dad one time, they were at this place. But it's kind of funny, like, they never ever mentioned the guy's name, eh?
Well, no, because it's true.
Yeah,
So you don't want
yeah.
They have
didn't-
family
didn't
in
want
that, eh?
to, they never talked about the name or the person or anything. But wherever they were at a place, my dad and my uncle, it was in the winter time, and they were going to leave from there, and they were going someplace else to a dance. Dad and uncle, they were just young at that time. And he said this guy was there at this particular place where they started out from. He was there too, this guy visiting. He was sitting there he had supper with them there, and he talking, he said there, and laughing and joking, and when they got about halfway to where they were going, all of a sudden Dad said, they can feel something, like it wasn't right.
Oh, yeah.
And they looked back and they seen this great big dog coming behind. My Monuk, my Uncle Henry, Monuk Tommy, Monuk Toby, Monuk Justin, they used to play fiddle, those guys, whole works, and my grandpa. There were 5 fiddlers in my grandpa's family. And then Uncle George and Uncle Rahul, they were the step dancers.
Okay, so some would be the fiddle player. I guess you need both, eh?
Yeah. And then Uncle George, he used to chord the piano too, for them playing the fiddle. He was good chording the piano. And I really didn't see them till my Uncle George's 50th anniversary. He asked us to come and cook for them at his anniversary. They had it outside, and we barbecued everything outside, me and my brother Tommy, for my uncle's anniversary in Capel. Mm-hmm. And that's the time they jigged together. That's the first time I ever seen them, him and Uncle Joe, jigging together, eh? Those 2 guys jigging, they're just like only one guy jigging. They knew exactly when they were going to change and what step they were going to do next,
All right.
Yeah.
Like team jigging.
Yeah. But they did it ever since they were about 5 years old. Eh?
That must have been something to see.
All through their life they did that, Yeah, and they were good. They were good.
People would do different steps, eh? 'Cause
Yeah.
You have a lot of steps.
Yeah.
How many steps did you have?
17.
17?
That was old Louis 32 used to have, eh?
No, I don't know how many
Yeah.
he had.
Yeah. I think he said he had 32 steps. Old Louis Cardinal. And
There's
what-
2 steps there.
and what, only had 200
I made it up
different
myself,
steps.
2 of yours you made up?
2 of my own. I made it up myself.
People must have done that, though, eh?
Oh,
Like
yes.
making up
yes.
their
A
own.
lot of those guys, they made up their own step. My cousin Walter Amy out there, he used to jig, but he used to copy off other guys, eh? Like, he never made any steps like George did. He used to copy off other guys, and when you see somebody doing a step right away, you see him at work. He's trying
it
to
out?
do that
Yeah.
that same step what he saw that guy do.
Did some of the steps have names? Some of the common ones?
Yeah, they had names for them. Yeah.
Like, give me an
A
example.
double jig and
Yeah.
different. I forget the name of them.
Yeah.
No, you know.
Yeah, that was a common one, a double jig.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those guys dance that double jig.
The double.
Yeah, double jig.
Like you
Double
dance,
jig.
you dance just like your feet moving double, like, you know.
Yeah.
How they call it double jig. Eh?
Yeah.
Your
You
feet
hit
are-
twice, or you hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit twice where you usually just hit one, eh?
Yeah.
You go.
And you both feet have to be the same.
Yeah.
You see, you tap this one. When this one is turned, you got to have it the same way as you tap your right and your left.
Yeah.
Same as going backwards. When you go backwards, you step backwards. If you hit it 3 times or 4 times, the other one, left one, you got to do the same thing. Then you match it.
Yeah.
That's why the
That's
dance
where you
is-
get your rhythm.
Yeah. Then the music, I have to have good music, good jigging music, and the sound of the guitar when they go. I could, on a hard floor with my cowboy boots, I can make tuck 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 tuck, make the noise the same way as that, you know, the band or whatever guitar player.
So your feet are like an
That's
instrument.
That's the way I done mine. Eh? Otherwise, there's no. If I can't follow it, I got to stop and wait till that music I can go again. Eh?
Yeah, it's fairly. It's got a lot to do with the music, eh, you know, and and how you get your rhythm fit in with the music. Eh? You got to correspond both of them together. Eh? You know, you got to have that rhythm. You got to hit that. When that guy hits that guitar, you got to hit that floor too, pretty well at the same time. Eh? You know, so you got to time everything perfect. And like George says, if you don't, you get out of step and you got to start all over again. You know, yeah, you're back to square one again. Yeah. Anyway, kind of going back to Sherry's first question. She asked me who my dad and mother were. I failed to tell you guys. My dad was William Desjarlais, and my mother was Florence Racette. And my dad and mother married in 1929, and I was born in 1934. And I had 2 brothers older than me. And then now I can go back to my digging Seneca roots, but it was really a kind of a way of life years ago for the Metis people to go out digging Seneca root. That was a good way of making money, and it was good money. Like at that time, even at that time, they got good money for that dry Seneca root, eh? And so a lot of them went out digging Seneca root. And what we used to do in our family, I don't know about George's, but my family, my dad, when they came out of the Red River settlement, they settled just 2 miles south of Ituna in a Métis settlement there called St. Dolphin. And this is where they settled a whole bunch of those Métis people. They had a church there, they had a school there, and that's where my dad went to school. Anyway, but from there, my dad came south and got married in the valley there in 29. And what we used to do is we used to get in the wagon, Grandma and Mother and my two brothers and Dad. We'd go up north, and Dad used to go to work for the farmers all day, and we'd go digging Seneca roots.
So while he was working for the farmer, the rest of you were...
yeah, the rest of us are all
So the
digging
kids and
Seneca
the women?
Yeah. The Mom and Grandma, well, we'd go and dig Seneca root all morning, and then we'd take a lunch along with us, and we'd have a lunch along a slough or someplace. And then at night, well, Dad would come back to camp there and come and stay with us overnight, and then next morning he'd go back and work for the farmer, eh? And then when we finished digging in a certain area there, when we got to the point where we had to walk a little too far, well, Dad, in the evening when he'd come back, we'd have supper, and then after supper, well, we'd get the horses and hook them up in the wagon and move camp, a couple of 3 miles up, and set up camp there again, and we got fresh digging again. But my dad made all these Seneca root diggers. The way they used to do it is they used to take the spring out of the old buggies. Years ago, they used to have the springs on the old buggies, so Dad took those apart, and then he'd cut them, and he'd put an ash picket on that piece of spring.
So it'd be metal.
Yeah,
Metal.
yeah. So it was metal that we used to, and my dad, he was very, very strict about us. When you push your Seneca root digger into the ground beside the plant, you pull on your Seneca root digger, and then you pull on the plant, and you keep moving your Seneca root digger
so you're
till
just
it loosens
loosening it,
up,
and then
then you
so you
pull
don't
out the
touch the
plant.
root. Yeah.
You pull out
You
the
don't
plant,
break it.
and then you pull your digger out, and a lot of times you hardly leave any marks where you were. And that's the way my dad taught us.
So you don't go make a big mess.
Yeah. So we don't go and dig up somebody's pasture or anything. A lot of times we used to go and dig in.
What did you call
pasture.
that digger?
A digger?
Yeah.
Well, at that time we used to call it a navu digger, but
Yeah,
it
navu.
was, yeah.
How would you say that?
That's a wild turnip, a navu. It's
No, digger.
It's a wild turnip, actually. They grow in the valley there all over. Last year here, we went down there, and I went and dug a whole bunch of them for the grandchildren, and they couldn't get over that. And
You can eat those, right?
Oh
They're
yeah,
good, aren't they?
oh
Yeah, it's supposed to be
definitely,
good.
Just
oh
peel it.
definitely. Yeah, there's a skin on there. You peel it, and you can boil them, and you can fry them too. They're good.
They're good?
Yeah, they're like, they taste like a wild turnip. Actually, they're actually kind of like they belong to the turnip family. But we used to eat a lot of those at one time.
Stories?
I remember years ago when I was a kid, we used to really like going to visit Grandpa, old Isidore Emiot, Uncle Renee's dad. When I was a kid there, Grandpa Isidore was, already he was in, I think his early 90s, eh? And he used to tell us stories years ago when he was a kid, eh? And he was telling us when they left the Red River settlement, he was 16 years old when they left over there, and he left driving 6 oxen on a wagon, and he had a wagon box full of flour that he was bringing west to these settlements down here. They were bringing stuff from Winnipeg this way, and then that's when the people moved west. They left the Red River settlement. But this my old grandpa Isidore Hermiot, he was telling us that he was 16. He said that he drove his 6 oxen west. And then when they got here, well, him and his 2 friends, they didn't want to go back to the Red River settlement because they were chasing them out of the Red River settlement with guns. Actually, they were shooting people. So they said, well, we're not going to go back over there, and just get shot, Don't stay here. So they stayed here. But here, at that time, there wasn't that many wild horses around, so they were looking for wild horses. Mustangs, they were looking for. And they couldn't really find too many. There was some in the foothills of Alberta, I guess, but there was quite a few, they said, into the States.
In Montana.
So Grandpa Isidore and his 2 buddies, they decided, well, he said, we decided we'd go to Montana to go and get some horses, he said. They're going to go and get horses over there from the Indians over there. So anyway, that was fine. They went down there, and by golly, they succeeded. They 32 head of horses.
Who'd they pull them off?
Off the Indians.
Do you know which
At
one?
the reservations.
Oh, right off the reservation.
Right off the reservation, yeah. And he said those guys chased them, and they had those horses going full blast and making all that dust. He said, and we were right in that dust. He said,
so they couldn't see them.
They couldn't see us. He said, but God darn it, he said, they got one of their buddies got shot and killed there. But they never slowed down, they never stopped, they never looked back at all. He said him and his other buddy, they kept chasing their herd. And by golly, they finally those Indians gave up and went back, I guess. And they got back here with, I think, 22 head of horses, I think they got back with. But so they sold a couple along the way. And they sold, and they lost a few along the way. But they got here, he said, with 22 head of horses, and that's where most of the Metis got their horses from. His old grandpa Isidore, when they went
shopping.
Horse shopping, and they brought back these horses.
I wonder what kind of horses they were, how they looked. Did he say how any of them looked?
Well, I guess they were pretty good horses. Apparently, oh God, they can go. They can go like I don't know what, those horses. And they weren't real heavy horses. They were kind of in between.
Okay.
Horse, like probably a 1,200, 1,100 pound horse. Yeah, they weren't big horses, but boy, I guess they were good horses. And they sold them all. Like guys here and there bought their horses. But that's how he told us that they brought these horses here. But he was just a kid himself at the time.
How old would he have been about?
Well, he was 16 when he came here. He'd probably be about 17 or 18.
So just a bunch of young guys.
Yeah,
got a crazy idea.
Oh, crazy! They just decided they were going to go get horses, and that's all there was to it. There was nothing going to stop them. Yeah, they went out. Like he told us, he said, they were to the point where they weren't scared of anything. He said, we weren't scared of nothing. I said, weren't you scared? I said, Grandpa, when you guys got over there, I said, the rattlesnakes. Oh, heck, he said, the rattlesnake never bother you. He said, You see, we were scared of our enemy. He said, that's the guys we had to watch. The rattlesnakes, they didn't bother us.
Oh, yeah. Just the guy whose horses you have to
Yeah,
watch.
the guy, the horses from the guy that had to watch. But that's he told us that story.
I
And
never
I
th-
remember it. It was real good.
I never thought of that, but I guess there really weren't very many horses in
No,
Saskatchewan, because I've
no,
never
no.
heard of wild horses
No,
in
you see,
Saskatchewan.
what happened years ago, there was quite a few, I guess, at one time, but when the buffalo was here, they took over.
Oh,
They scared all the horses out of here.
all right, because all down there used to be buffalo
Oh, yes,
country.
there was so many buffalo in
just-
Saskatchewan here that there
there were
wasn't
no
very
horses.
many horses, but the buffalo was chasing the horses away.
And they were hard on like they sort of destroyed, like when there were so many of them, they were hard on the
Oh
prairie.
boy,
so
they ate a lot of grass, and there wasn't that much for the horses. So they found a lot of that. Like I think they still have in Alberta in the foothills. There's still wild mustangs there yet. They tell me.
I think they still have them in Montana too.
Yeah.
Down there. Well, that's neat.
But they're short some over there in Montana. It's mushroom.
They were short 30 horses.
Yeah, he
Made a
said they
detour
started out with a good herd, he said, but they lost some along the way. And then they sold a couple, he said, on the way too to keep alive.
Did he keep any?
Oh yes,
Yeah?
yeah.
So they would know how to break them and all of that,
Oh
eh?
yes, oh yeah. And a lot of them were broken already.
Oh, right, because they kind of got them ready-made.
They said, we're riding down everything. All they had to do was break them with harness here. Everything was done, eh? But as far as saddle riding, they're pretty well, 99% of them you were able to ride, eh?
So he would have maybe left the Red River settlement just before the war.
Oh, yes.
Would he have been old enough, or young enough, I guess, I don't know what way to put it, but would he have ever gone on a buffalo hunt?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He talked about that.
So they talk about that?
Yes, he used to go on buffalo
You too? You
hunts,
knew some old people that had gone on those buffalo hunts?
I hunt my buffalo myself.
Yeah, right. You're not that old. I mean, the ones at the Metis farm.
You went to standing buffalo.
Anyways, tell me. Getting here's that's si Jean Misaki.
Yeah, so, but like old Grandpa Isidore Amiot there, boy, he was interesting, that man.
So he would have gone. He went on a buffalo hunt.
Oh, yes.
Remember any other
yeah.
old guys that would have been old enough to?
Ah, Jesus,
My mom told me one of his brothers, Grandpa's brothers, and that he never used a horse or anything. They used these, what do you call it?
a spear,
Spear-like, and that. He said,
harpoon.
he said he outrun a buffalo, that guy. Right beside. Whatever buffalo you want, he just took right off, right beside him. Bang. Knock him right over.
Well, some of those old people could really run. Like you hear about how they could run. That sounds
I forget
unbelievable.
what he called his name there, what he told me, Mom. That was his uncle, like my grandpa's brother, Lemiot, who said he was running. So he used to tell us that story all the time. And that you know how we killed. He looked for a while down there, I guess, for a while. Whoever his kids are now, I can't say.
Yeah, yeah.
Wherever. I got lost with them, you know.
So I wonder where that happened. Would that have been in the States or up here? Hard to
Well,
say.
I exactly couldn't tell
He
you.
didn't say.
You know,
Hey, a lot of that, like, took place here, right here in
took place
Saskatchewan.
maybe someplace or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
This and that.
But a lot of those people years ago didn't have horses, so this is the only way they had to hunt their stuff this way.
By their feet.
Yeah, they had to eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone have a Red River cart or talk about Red River carts?
Oh yes, my nephew and my niece, they make them. They make Red River carts.
Oh, still?
Yeah.
Do you remember anyone making them?
Not really. Not really. I one time years ago there, my dad helped a guy fix a Red River cart, put new spokes on it. You know, that's the only thing that I ever seen.
They must have had them around because I found a picture in the archives that has a bunch of old Red River carts in Regina.
Oh,
like
boy.
people just kind of, I guess
Oh,
when they got
years
something
ago,
different,
they
they
were-
just left their old ones.
They're like a baby carriage now today. You know, God, everybody had one. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Well, that was their means and ways of traveling. Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
mostly wagons when you
Yeah,
were.
yeah. Well,
So it's
in our
like-
day, it was
it was
wagons.
wagons, yeah.
Oh, and they got into the wagons and the Democrats and the buggies. Yeah. But just before our time, that's where the Red River carts and them.
So your grandpa, when he talked about the buffalo hunts, did he just say a little bit about them, or did he say how it was?
Yeah, well, he told us the way they used to hunt them. Like, you know, they used to wait for them, you know. You know, it was nothing for them to lay in the grass for 2-3 hours to wait for them, you know, till they get into range. And then once they get into range, like George says, you know, then they jump up and get themselves a...
So they were hunting on foot mostly?
Yes,
That's
a lot of them, yes,
Yeah.
a lot of them hunt by foot. Well, like I said, they didn't have horses.
Some use a bow and arrow.
Yeah, a lot of them use bow and arrows.
Yeah, I'd heard that too, that
Yeah.
a lot of people still use
Yeah.
bows and arrows, especially in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, all right, now they hunt a lot of bear with bow and arrow, deer.
People used to be able to make their own, eh?
Yeah,
Bows and
oh
arrows.
yes.